Hello. I haven't made a video in a while, and I know, and especially right now, I think that it's a good time to make a video because I have a few things I want to say. And please forgive me if the quality is not as great as other videos, but it's probably going to be just as bad as the previous videos that I did because I'm not an editor, and it's going to be one take. So please forgive me. All right. I want to start off by talking about an experience that I had recently. It was a vision that I had on January 21st, 2020. And that was before everything that was going on right now started taking place. And back then, that was literally the week before Kobe Bryant had died. So it was that Tuesday night that Kobe Bryant passed that that Sunday. So the vision that I had, it was pretty much like a white light, and I couldn't see anything. I had lost my vision, and I couldn't see anything for a few less than a minute. But and I felt this warm sensation going to my body. So I kind of figured what that was and what that meant, but I could never be too sure about something like that. So I remember that Friday I had went out with a few friends, and we went to a bar, just kind of, I was drinking a little bit, and I kind of loosened up to the idea of what that vision could have meant. And I figured that it meant God was coming. So, that night I spoke to my girlfriend about it. My girlfriend at the time, I should say. I spoke to my girlfriend about it at the time, and I told her, what I saw and what I think it meant. And her response wasn't, she kind of smiled about it, I guess. Maybe has some type of confidence in the things that I say, I don't know. And so that was then. And then that Sunday, we all got news that Kobe Bryant has passed away. And that in itself was pretty weird, so sudden, the way it happened. And I guess for me, it kind of set the tone of what was to come. Like, things are about to get kind of weird, things are going to be different. So I guess later on that week, in the news in America, we started hearing about this COVID-19 situation, and what was going on in China. And it was, you see videos of people dropping in the street, dropping dead in the street, and it seemed pretty real. It seemed pretty real what was going on over there. So I took heed to that, to what I was seeing, and to the vision that I had, and I told a few friends, about what I saw, and like, hey, things are about to change. It's time that we probably start preparing ourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. And that kind of came to pass over, like, I told them, like, we had like maybe a month. According to the vision, I know, like, usually you get like a month in advance warning sometimes. That's a personal thing that I'm aware of. And so I told them we had a month, and a month later, the virus finally came over to here to the States, and people started getting infected, and then people started panic buying, and buying everything. The stores were empty. They started doing lockdowns, and at this point, the lockdown is still going on, and shelves in some places are kind of empty, but they're restocking now, so it's not as bad. But it's pretty much, that vision. It kind of it's in alignment with with what's going on right now. So, I'm making this video, just to give my take on what I think is actually happening. And I have a few other things, important things that I think I need to tell you guys. They speak about the four horsemen in the Bible, and the first horseman is supposed to, I guess, be on the white horse, and he's wearing white, and he's supposed to be like a symbol of purity, and he's wearing a crown, and people relate that to the return of Christ. I agree with that entirely, for these reasons. A lot of people, a lot of Christians, here and there, they may have come to the conclusion here and there that Michael is the same person as Jesus, and that is pretty accurate. That's very true. Michael is the same person as Jesus, and Jesus is Michael, and I myself am Michael. So I guess you could put those three together and understand what I'm saying. I know it's a big claim to make, but it's very true. It's something that cannot be, you can argue against it, you could feel some type of way about it, but the fact of the matter is that it's true, and it is what it is. I do remember that lifetime, and I have, speaking of remembering lifetimes, I have many more memories than I had back then. But speaking on this one particular lifetime, I do remember the end of that lifetime, and I do remember, having to carry that cross. I do remember having to walk through the streets naked, and I do remember asking God, or like begging God basically to not do what he was about to do, just to stop, because he was very angry, obviously, should be. But I remember begging him to be like, I told him, I showed him the woman and the soldier, and I said, they're just people, they're just people. And I guess, you stopped, and you just stopped what he was about to do. So I believe that there's a return. I would have to return. Why? Because technically I'm responsible. I've been responsible for everything that's been going on for quite a while now. From back in Mars, now Earth, then that lifetime, and now this lifetime. So it's a cycle. These things, it hasn't stopped yet. And so, because I'm responsible, I have to be here and show my face and speak about the things and bring truths to the forefront, things that have been hidden that people may not know about. And I don't necessarily mind, but it's still, it has its struggles, it has its positives and its negatives, of course. But this is not something that I was too fond about doing, even though I have known this and I had this memory for maybe a while now, maybe almost a year since I've known this. And because of that memory of me walking through the street naked, I remember that. And I want to say something that most people would think that maybe myself or Jesus was maybe weak or a punk for letting what happened happen. But I will tell you my mindset when that time when I was walking through those streets, I wasn't worried about being naked. I wasn't that never bothered me necessarily, and nor was it the carrying the cross. To be honest with you, for me that was more of a a hold my beer moment. To, I mean, people, they wanted to see me down, but in my mind I'm like, I'm gonna show you how to do this. I'm gonna show you what it is to carry this cross. Like this, I'm gonna show you how to do this, basically. And it never bothered me going through those situations. To be honest with you, like, you know, I was begging God to not to be so angry about the situation, because, you know, these people, regardless of what they did, like, yeah, it's fucked up, obviously, but I saw it as something petty. It was petty to me. I mean, existence goes on. I can never be so angry to the point where I would want everyone around me to die. Like, oh, you know, it's like I would never, not even in those type of situations. That's a big no-no. And I don't know about anybody else, but for me personally, I feel as if people, I don't know, I don't think people would want that either. You know, I think that would be anybody. But as you can see, you know, as common sense, you know, God, he was pretty mad about what happened, and which is completely understandable. But you know, I personally wasn't emotionally affected by what had happened. So I just want to move on with that. I want to give a big shout out to all the first responders out there. Going back a little bit, I want to give a big shout out to the first responders out there, and the police and the medical staff, nurses, doctors. You know, they're truly brave for what they're doing, and God sees these things, and I see these things, and fortunately, I've been able to have the opportunity to pray for these people, and pray for many people, you know, to get through the situation, because it's definitely a tough one. Things are going to be not easy, and I pray to God that that more people can make it through these situations, through these trying times, to experience the future that we're about to enter into. The beautiful, the positive of the future, because people aren't inherently bad. They're traumatized. In my eyes, they're traumatized, you know, by their own past lives, the things that they don't remember, that I remember, that I know these people have gone through. And people deserve mercy for that, I truly believe. And I do believe that there are bad people in this world that do need to be separated from the good people and the redeemable people. And I pray that these things happen, and I pray that God will do his due diligence, as we all should do our due diligence, and sort the good from the bad, and allow the bad people to make decisions that will put them in a situation where they can be eliminated. So that said, I want to give a shout out to all the people that are hanging in there, and the first responders, and the doctors, and the police officers, and the firefighters. I do want to say that even though I'm confessing who I am, that I am Jesus. I was Jesus, I should say. I'm Michael today. So I want to confess that lifetime to you, and I want to also confess the fact that I am not necessarily sinless or a goody two shoe, or not. I mean, I'm not far. I mean, we all commit sin. I've committed sin in different ways, but It's more of the fact that the things that I stand by, the principles that I stand by are towards morality of certain situations, you know. I do stand strong to certain principles. I do see things a very straight, stringent way. I try to stick to those principles absolutely 100%. And the people around me, I hold those people around me to those principles, especially when they conflict with my interests. It becomes a problem. And I stand true to that every day. And I do my best to do the right thing at all times. And I believe that many people also, besides me, of course, do. But I do my best. Even though in the Bible it says that he was sinless, I don't remember enough of that lifetime to say whether I was sinless or not. I know that I was strong-willed, as I am today. That's something that's not changed, and probably will never change. I do believe that I had probably made mistakes, you know, that allowed me to be captured the way that I was. It could be simple mistakes, little things that people do every day, you know, but for me, it's the rules are kind of different. And when these mistakes happen, the consequences could be more dire, especially if people are after you. So that's a truth that a big truth that I would like to share with everybody. Now, I want to talk about Lucifer. You know, there's a lot of things I want to cover today. I want to talk about Lucifer. So this angel, I am Michael, and the firstborn. Firstborn meaning the first spirit to come from God that he created. I know this because I remember this day. I remember my creation, which was super long ago. Like, I cannot explain in time how long ago this was. This is before Earth. This is before the races that I spoke of in my past videos. This is before all the wars. This is before many things. But this is before the third dimension was even relevant in any way, shape, or form to anybody. So my memory of my creation was I was in this white light. Everything is white. Heaven is white. Heaven is within God, literally. So what it felt like, as if I was in God's hand, and I was conscious, meaning I was able to perceive things around me, like perceive my environment. And I was conscious enough to realize that I was in his hand, if so to speak. And what it looked like, what was happening to me, something was happening to me. What it looked like was I was in like surgery, as if my insides were open on a spiritual body, also white. And I can see him. He was channeling this dark energy, literally this dark energy through me. And I don't know if it was in a specific way, but it had it like it was going through a pattern, like it was doing something. And you know, I was sitting there, I was happy, I was smiling, I was like a child. So that was my true beginning. And that's how I know that I was the first one, because I was the only person there besides him. And now to speak about the other angels. There are other angels. Angels, the archangels, on a spiritual level, even on a physical level. Not physical like you and I, but if you were to perceive them, They're very large, very massive, massive, massive spiritual beings, and they all take on different shades, different colors, and these angels, for instance, Michael, well, myself, I would say that maybe I'd be like maybe white with like a dark inside, maybe, I don't know. I'm assuming that because of what I saw in the beginning. But when I saw Lucifer, and there were two other angels that were with him, and I know this is him because one day, and this is before Earth, before the third dimension was relevant in any way, shape, there were three angels, and they were heading towards, I guess, behind me, which was heaven or our home, and God, maybe, I believe, because everywhere is God, pretty much, up there especially. They wanted to go past me, and I would not allow it. I held out my arms, and I said to them, you're not going this way. You're going that way. You go anywhere else, but you're not going this way. So they said, fine. And they three angels, they left, turned around, and they disappeared. That was the last time I ever saw them. Lucifer, the lead angel, I believe was Lucifer, he had an orange, like an orange color. He was orangish. And the two angels behind him were like bluish white, two of them. And they left, like I said. Now, that is the most that I know about this angel on a spiritual level, and the things that he could be doing, that he could have done. I believe that I've ran into him a few times through different lifetimes, especially when I was king in Sirius as Canis. I believe that was my brother, and I believe that he was the one that orchestrated my the coup where I died, and he was the one that my son in that lifetime, when he became king, he did the same thing to him, and he ran away, and he came here to this system, Saul, and he had his own. He started his own small empire. This was our territory, Sirius territory, and because he was king at the time, he still had, I guess, he could consider his property for the moment. So he came here, and he did his thing, and there was another planet here, and it was destroyed in the war between Sirius, Orion, and him. And I believe that he had set up some type of grid that was in sync with the technology that he and his warriors, which were his grandson and other people that came here to this race, and became like other races that came to this system that were from different races, and this place was pretty much the melting pot of the galaxy in a way, when it comes to all the sinful things, maybe, I guess you could say, all sinful things you could do. There was a lot of stuff going on here, and so yeah, I speak about this, and a good way for you to make reference, or a good way for me to explain this so you can understand, kind of idea what was happening, or what had happened, was like Lion King, that's based on a true story. And the same thing with Black Panther, the movie, in a way, it was based on a true story as well. You know, there's coups, the people that feel as if they're entitled to the throne and they're just not. So, with that said, that's all that I have to say about Lucifer. Now, I want to talk about God. God. He is the alpha male. He is king. He is truly the God. If you believe in these things like a multiverse or parallel realities, he is the God of all of them. That's the truth. That's absolute truth. And I know this for a fact because when I had that vision, it's as if he was piercing through so many different layers of reality. You can see all these different layers, and then the white light in the middle. And you can tell that he cut through a lot to get here, to get to me. And that's when I realized, I was like, holy crap, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, So I thought that was pretty interesting, but that really showed me how powerful. I already knew he was powerful, but that shows me on what he has control over. That showed me, where he is. And speaking on God, he is truly righteous. He is righteous. That is the perfect explanation to explain him. To understand him, just think righteous. That is a man. He is absolutely powerful. He is truly God. He is source. He is creation. He rules all things. I'm proud to serve him. Absolutely. And before now, I've been living throughout my existence, not necessarily pointed in any one certain direction. I've always done what I thought was right. But now, now I'm able to gather all those lifetimes together, all those perspectives together, and put it together in this one lifetime, this one perspective. And I'm truly proud to say that I serve him, and I will serve him for the rest of my existence. There's nothing else to do. I don't mind. I love it. There's always great challenges, and this is kind of what I live for, So I believe that people should know what God is really truly all about, And I had some notes here because I want people to know how to communicate with God, a good way to experience God is by counting your blessings. The little things, anything. You're feeling down, and then you go somewhere and you find something that specifically that you love, that raises your spirit, gives you motivation. It could be a loved one, it could be your children, it could be a family, it could be food, it could be your favorite hobby. These are blessings. These are all blessings, because so many people don't have these things. There are many other ways I can explain this, and I can go on all day. But I said that one specifically because it's very subtle, and a good way that God communicates is in subtle ways. And then if you start with those subtle things, you realize the big things. And then you realize how many blessings you truly have. Massive amount of blessings. So another way to communicate with God, or to work with God specifically, is by doing your due diligence. Doing the right thing. Following up, covering your ass, literally. Prayer. But absolutely doing your due diligence and prayer together. That's a part of your diligence. I pray a lot. I'll pray for anything. For any reason. I wake up, I pray. When I'm eating, I pray. In fact, when I eat, I pray twice. I pray because I have the food in front of me, and when I'm about to eat, I'm so grateful for what I have in front of me, I pray again. So I pray twice. And I pray when I go to sleep. I pray for anything, man. I pray for strength always, endurance, guidance, and mercy. These are things that you can consider to be diligence. Your due diligence, covering your butt spiritually and doing the right thing in the physical. Treating people right. Understanding the way you think. The things that you do, why you do them. These things are very important. Very, very important. How to receive His instruction. To receive God's instruction, it's very subtle. Like I said before, He communicates in very subtle ways. You could be thinking about something, be like, damn, should I do this? Should I do that? And then like the TV is playing in the background and you hear it say no. Then that's your answer. You can literally use that and be like, base a theory, be like, maybe I shouldn't do this. It's a good way to, it's a good start. But always be honest with yourself. You should know. Everybody knows right from wrong. There's some people that don't know right from wrong in different ways because of the way they were raised in their environment. But He understands this because He's righteous. He understands all things. But for people that do know right from wrong and you choose to do wrong, you choose to be an a-hole, you choose to treat people like crap, you choose to take advantage of people, you gotta think about these things and find a way to set yourself right, in your own heart, so that you don't do these things. You don't feel prone to do these things. You don't take advantage of these opportunities. Of course, making changes like that do not happen overnight.